The overall management of the Cumberland River is complex in nature and requires constant communication and coordination efforts.
Hi, I'm Bob Sneed, Chief of the Water Management Office here in the Nashville District. Water management cannot be fully appreciated without a discussion of the coordination efforts among local, state, and federal agencies here in the region.
Today we will look at 3 agencies that work closely together to reduce flood impacts for the communities we serve and to protect lives and property.
Water management within the Cumberland River Basin is very much a team effort. While the Corps takes the lead on project operations, we depend heavily on our federal partners at both the National Weather Service and the U.S. Geological Survey for vital information that is needed for us to be able to do our evaluation and come up with sound decisions. And then finally, once we do make those decisions and our operations are communicated on a regular basis with the National Weather Service, they take that information along with their predicted rainfall information and develop flood forecasts for established points along the Cumberland River and some of the major tributaries.
Key to coordination in the water management of the Cumberland River is our partnership with the National Weather Service. Nashville District water managers work closely with the local Weather Service office and the Ohio River Forecast Center located in Wilmington, Ohio. Today, Mr. Larry Venozzi of the Nashville Weather Forecast Office explains their role.
Well, the mission of the National Weather Service is to try to protect lives and property through advanced forecasts and advanced warnings. We want to let folks know what's going to happen, when it's going to happen, before it happens. When it comes to coordinating with the Corps of Engineers in hazardous weather, especially floods, we'll do several things. We'll have phone discussions pretty frequently. We can have coordinated phone briefings when flood threats are increasing, and so we'll have set times where we can exchange a lot of information. We can do that via email as well. So there's a lot of different ways that we can do that. We will involve district offices as well as division offices at the Corps of Engineers. On the Weather Service side, we will involve local forecast offices as well as our river forecast centers. All those combined have pieces of information that we need to work together to exchange that information. From there, we have a better understanding of what's happening, what's going to happen, and then we can issue hopefully the flood warnings in time. There's one other neat way that we can exchange information, and that's through a chat system. The Weather Service has a chat system that we coordinate with a lot of key partners on, and one key partner, of course, is the Corps of Engineers when it comes to flooding, and so their water management folks and other folks at the Corps of Engineers can be in the chat rooms that we use to coordinate with our River Forecast Center, our local offices, as well as the Corps of Engineers. The USGS is important because they have a lot of the gauges, in some ways the rain gauges and also river gauges. So without those observations, we don't really know what's happening. So the USGS is really important in diagnosing what's happening right now and what has happened. When it comes to emergency management, we work closely with TEMA as well as county emergency managers to, again, let them know as far in advance as possible of any kind of threatening weather, whether it be floods or tornadoes, and also to work with them during the threat and even after the threat too, to coordinate damage surveys, to exchange information as to what has happened. If a tornado has gone through that area, has it caused a lot of damage or a little bit of damage? So we work with emergency management, Corps of Engineers, and all sorts of partners to better prepare folks for what is about to happen and also help folks cope with what has happened.
The coordination and communication between the Corps of Engineers and the National Weather Service is stronger today than ever. However, coordination of water management activities on the Cumberland River with the National Weather Service is only part of the larger picture. When severe weather threatens the region, our Corps Emergency Management Office also plays a key role. Today, Jerry Bresnikan, Chief of the Nashville District Emergency Management Office, explains the Corps' role.
In a disaster, if the governor declares a declaration in the state, the Nashville District can provide support under Public Law 8499, as in issuing sandbags, sandbagging machines, technical assistance on a levee, things in that nature to help. If the state's overwhelmed and the president declares the state a disaster area or certain counties, that's when emergency support function number 3, the Corps of Engineers would pull in under FEMA guidance and provide services such as temporary roofing, debris removal, and temporary power. In the event of a disaster, we supply a liaison to the state who's a go-between between our district, Nashville, and the state. That liaison could be a subject matter expert in water management, could be a subject matter expert in structural design or civil design. We tailor the liaison to the disaster. If it's a flood, we would send somebody from water management over to the state to give briefings and to show the state where we're at in the mission. However, we do also have liaisons that are just versatile in every aspect, and they go over there initially and they provide that liaison between the state and us in the district, and they can do reach back and call these subject matter experts if the subject matter experts aren't available to deploy to the state.
The coordination role of Corps emergency managers is vital to our overall goal of protecting lives and property. Key to the coordination effort is the partnership between the Corps Emergency Management Office and the Tennessee Emergency Management Agency. Major General Retired James Bassam, Director of TEMA, explains this partnership.
When we have an emergency or disaster, we can declare a state of emergency in the state of Tennessee by activating the TEMP, the Tennessee Emergency Management Plan, and by doing that we activate the State Emergency Operations Center here and man up to handle whatever needs to take place. Now, insofar as working with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers and the National Weather Service for that matter, some of the lessons that we've learned over the past few years, particularly the flood in 2010, has led us to make some improvements in the way we cooperate with each other and the way we communicate with each other. We have representatives from the Corps and the National Weather Service that come out and train with us on a monthly basis, and then when we activate the State Emergency Operations Center, those liaison officers come to our State Emergency Operations Center, and they're part of the larger team here that we use to deal with emergencies and disasters in our State Emergency Operations Center, and that gives us a first-hand coordination process to deal with weather and water and flooding and all those things that the Corps has an interest in and that the National Weather Service has an interest in and that we at TEMA deal with. So we have a very close operating process with the Corps and with the National Weather Service, and we do that here both when we have a disaster and also, though, we do it on a monthly basis by training. One of the tenets of emergency management is that all disasters and all emergencies are local. That starts at an individual or a local household or in a neighborhood, a community, or in our case, a county in state law. So a county mayor is responsible for that real estate and those citizens within his county. And so when that county mayor determines that he has an event or a disaster, an emergency there that he or she needs help from that they don't have, then they will call TEMA, the state, and then it's our responsibility to provide those local jurisdictions with resources that they don't have. That might be other state resources that we have in the state, or it might be resources from another county that we would move there through mutual aid agreements that we have. Or in the case of a larger event, we would go to our federal partners, FEMA, and they would provide resources to that local government through the state. The pyramid really is inverted. We start with the individual and the household and that personal readiness that each head of the household should have. That is an emergency plan. We would like for each household to have about 3 or 4 days worth of critical supplies, which would be water and food and medication on hand, where they could survive until help should arrive. So that's the way we look at it. It starts with the individual household, the individuals, goes into neighborhoods, communities, and into the county, and then to the state, and then to the federal government. Interaction with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. One of the things that we do, we attend each other's briefings, meetings. We do planning together as they really relate to the Corps' mission. So when we have the potential for flooding, we have conference calls that are involved with the Corps of Engineers along with the National Weather Service to talk about forecasts for river flooding, forecasts for rainfall in the Weather Service's world, to determine whether or not we need to start taking preparations from an emergency management point of view, and also to get local governments involved with preparation in case the forecasts are for flooding in their areas.
Coordination among local, state, and federal agencies is critical to saving lives and protecting property. However, floods can only be managed, not prevented.